sources, sometimes, well, sometimes very unexpected ones, and we pull out the truths hiding inside.
And today, we're really doing that. We're looking at excerpts from a children's book. It's called Jessica Watches City Cat TV by Marcy Schaff.
Right. And our mission here isn't just to, read you a bedtime story. We're using this seemingly simple narrative about a cat and a screen as a powerful metaphor.
A metaphor for some pretty profound themes. We're talking about adaptation, resilience, and how we maintain that vital sense of curiosity when our world suddenly gets a whole lot smaller.
Exactly. So this really isn't just about a cute cat. It's about being resourceful when you face a kind of environmental shock. So let's start with our protagonist, Jessica. The sources define her initial state perfectly. She wasn't just a cat. She was, and I'm quoting here, the queen of her backyard. She acted like a tiny tiger.
And that contrast is so crucial. Her whole identity was tied to that kingdom,
Yeah.
a place where she was the chief navigator, the apex predator.
She had a purpose.
A clear purpose. The environment supported her most essential biological needs. The need to chase, to pounce, and to feel, as the book says, fast, brave, and free.
So that freedom is the emotional baseline. And then the move to this tall, shiny apartment tower, that's what sets up the central conflict. And it's a conflict for any creature, including you, the listener, when you face a huge, restrictive change.
Well, how do you maintain that wild, curious spirit when your circumstances just slam a hard boundary around your life?
It's that classic problem, isn't it? Safety versus exploration.
It is. The apartment tower is security. It's high, it's shiny, it's safe. But for a hunter, for an explorer, it's also a radical limitation. All the tools and behaviors that defined her success before, they're suddenly irrelevant.
And the sources show the psychological impact almost immediately. She looks out the windows, but all she sees are clouds, cars, and these teeny tiny people.
It's passive observation, not active engagement.
And her emotional dip is so sharp, it says she meowed a little meow that meant, I miss my wild world.
She's mourning the loss of utility. She's safe, sure, but she's also bored. And that's where the story poses its main question. If the terrain is inaccessible, how do we recreate purpose?
And the solution comes right away from Whitney, Jessica's mom. She just says, we'll find you new adventures. And then she turns on Cat TV.
Okay, let's really dig into the mechanics of that solution, because it's not just background noise. The content on this Cat TV is specifically designed to replicate the most valuable stimuli from her old life.
Yes. The goal here isn't just distraction, it's what you could call proxy engagement. For a cat's hunting instinct to really activate, the simulation has to be high fidelity.
If it's too generic, the brain just rejects it.
Right. The detail is what gets the neurological buy-in.
And you can see that design so clearly in the content breakdown. The source doesn't just say she saw birds. No, it says she saw bright birds zipping across a rainbow sky. It's all about speed, color, erratic movement.
Exactly. And the ground targets are just as calibrated. The squirrels aren't just, running around. They are fluffy, chattering, acorn-hugging squirrels. That detail, acorn-hugging.
That detail adds a layer of complexity and texture. It mimics a real, busy, high-stakes target that demands your full focus.
And the frogs, I love this description. They're green, bouncy, boiny frogs leaping across lily pads. The word boiny itself sounds like that sudden, erratic movement that just triggers a predator's brain.
And then they even add an aquatic element, a totally different kind of challenge. Fish swimming in sparkly blue water with fins that shimmer like dancing ribbons.
So it's a complete cognitive
A
workout.
perfect one. And we know it's working because the source material gives us this physical readout of her engagement. Forget the plot for a second. Just look at the neurology.
Her whiskers twitched, and the book immediately translates that. Pounce mode activated.
And this is where we can really elevate the analysis. Pounce mode activated isn't just a cute phrase. It's a metaphor for achieving a flow state. It means her executive functions, planning, targeting, anticipation, they are all fully engaged on this screen.
The psychological challenge has been successfully projected onto a safe space.
And then you get the proof. She wiggled her butt.
The universal sign of cat excitement.
It is. It signals a physical commitment to the hunt, even if the hunt is purely virtual. Her internal identity as a hunter is being reaffirmed in that moment.
And her tail swished like a happy windshield wiper. Her purr sounded like a tiny lawnmower of joy. So it wasn't just occupying her time. It was actually restoring her sense of well-being.
It was restoring her purpose.
And then Whitney, the human, adds this crucial layer she throws in the audio. Bird sounds, squirrel chatter, and frog croaks. It wasn't enough to just see it. She had to hear it too.
A fully immersive sensory environment. It shows that adaptation isn't a one-and-done thing. You often have to iterate on the solution to get it just right.
So if we connect that sensory deep dive to the bigger picture, the key lesson here is really about the idea of safe exploration.
It is. Cat TV helped her explore safely, and maybe more importantly, it kept her mind busy and her heart calm.
That dual function seems to be the core insight, really, for anyone facing limitations. It's not just about killing time, it's about maintaining cognitive agility and emotional stability.
Yes, because boredom is so often the enemy of calm.
Right.
Think about the modern world. Remote work, long-term recovery from an injury. When your external world shrinks, your sense of personal competence can start to erode. Jessica's ability to successfully hunt, virtually, meant her inner map of her own capability stayed intact.
Which leads directly to her big realization. The sources say she realized something important. Adventures can happen anywhere.
Anywhere. In a backyard, a high-rise apartment.
Or on a magical TV.
And that is the synthesis of safety and adventure. The spirit of exploration is officially divorced from geography. Her identity as a wild little tiger wasn't tied to the square footage of her yard.
It was tied to her internal disposition, her ability to engage creatively with what she had.
And what's fascinating is the role of the support system here. Whitney wasn't just a landlord, she was an active resource manager. She met Jessica's needs with love and creativity.
It really highlights how important a partner or a community can be when you're navigating a huge life change.
And you get more validation from Grandma, who visits and cheers her on, saying, "Still the bravest explorer I know."
I love that.
That external recognition is so important. It confirms that her internal adaptation was successful. It says that bravery is a state of mind, and it can be recognized even when the method of exploring changes completely.
So the outcome isn't resignation, it's transformation. She's still chasing all the same things, birds, squirrels, frogs. She just mastered a new medium for it.
She was safe, adored, and critically, still a wild little tiger at heart. She integrated the new environment without losing her core identity.
Okay, now this is where we do our deepest dive. We connect this theme of internal resilience to the actual life of the author, Marcy Schaff. Her biography says her life is shaped by two steady currents, stories and the sea.
And this dual expertise gives us a really powerful way to understand the book's core tension. Marcy Schaff is a professional boat captain. She skippers a 50-foot catamaran in Grenada.
So she is literally charting real routes, reading real weather.
It's high-stakes, real-world navigation. She is dealing with genuine danger, calculating risk, and using precise knowledge to guarantee safety. Her entire professional life is about managing physical boundaries and environmental risk.
Right, the ultimate kind of exploration.
Exactly. And then she transitions to the page. She crafts books that help young readers feel brave, curious, and cozy.
So the book itself becomes a kind of metaphorical safe harbor.
It's the perfect metaphor, a place where difficult, boundary-pushing ideas like adventure and curiosity can be processed without any real-world threat. She's an expert at translating high-stakes exploration into these safe, digestible narratives.
That blend of geography, gentle humor, and heart suddenly makes perfect sense. She's taking the lessons of real navigation and applying them to emotional navigation.
And she advocates for caring for the oceans, which again connects her passion for the real, wild, external world back to a sense of responsibility. The tension between the wild ocean she captains and the safe book she writes is mirrored perfectly in Jessica's own story.
Wild backyard to safe high-rise.
Exactly.
And the sources give us that final, wonderful piece of grounding. The whole story was inspired by pictures that her daughter, Whitney,
The namesake of the owner in the book.
right, pictures Whitney sent of her cat, the real Jessica, watching cat TV.
So the story wasn't some philosophical exercise. It was the artistic documentation of a genuine, successful act of adaptation. A real-world solution to feline boredom became a universal lesson.
A lesson about how creativity and love can solve these fundamental challenges that are brought on by constraint.
It really confirms that the most profound lessons often come from the simplest, most observant acts of resourcefulness.
So what does this all mean for you? Well, I think this deep dive shows that knowledge, purpose, exploration, they aren't limited by physical constraints. They're limited by our cognitive imagination.
Whether you're a cat stuck in an apartment or a professional navigating a restricted market, the path forward is a creative act.
And we learn that adaptation symbolized by Whitney turning on that TV is obviously essential. But maybe more importantly, curiosity, which we see when Jessica immediately goes into pounce mode activated. That's the non-negotiable engine that drives everything forward, no matter the medium.
Yeah.
The story of Jessica is just a powerful reminder that our most valuable attributes, bravery, speed, freedom, they are internal states. We are not defined by the size of our environment, but by the ferocity of our engagement with it.
And that leads us to the final provocative thought for you to mull over. The story shows us that Jessica successfully transferred her wild little tiger identity from a real jungle to a simulated one.
Yeah.
So the question is, what is the current challenge or restrictive environment in your life, be it professional, geographical, or personal? And how can you apply that same creative adaptation to project your most brave and free internal self onto that challenge, making the boundary, in the end, irrelevant?
Because the journey, as Jessica proved, really does start from within.